Make sure it's on. Part 5. This part tells how the subconscious processes are continually at work. It tells how we may continuously direct this work instead of being mere passive recipients of this activity. Of its activity. It tells how we may have a vision of the destination to be reached, the dangers and the pitfalls to be avoided. It tells how the world has become flesh. You're either born of flesh or you're born of spirit, as Christ said. How we are constantly creating and recreating ourselves. It tells of a mental home which each of us is building for ourselves. The Temple of Solomon, which the Freemasons build. The importance of this home, where the material is secured, the character of the furnishing, how and why many of us need a mental house cleaning in case we wish to realize our ideas. It tells of the conditions by which we may come into our inheritance of wealth, harmony and prosperity, and the conditions in one which demands no sacrifice except the loss of our limitations, our servitude, and our weaknesses, and costs only the labor of harvesting its great resources. Introduction, Part 5. After studying this part carefully, you will see that every conceivable force or object or fact is the result of mind in action. Mind in action is thought, and thought is creative. Men are thinking. Men are thinking now as they've never thought before. Therefore, this is a creative age. This age we are living in is one of the most creative ages we've been in. Like, one of the most creative ages we've been in. I love it, but where you've got people creating, you've got people just trying to monetize it, trying to make it commercial, trying to get money off of it. True works of art are made without the audience in mind. True work of art is a dedication, devotion from your time, your energy, and everything else in between to whatever you see when you look up. And the world is awarding its richest prizes to the thinkers. Matter is powerless, passive, inherent. Mind is force, energy, power. Mind shapes and controls matter. Every form which matter takes is but the expression of some pre-existing thought. But thought works no magic transformations. It obeys natural law. It sets in motion natural forces. It releases natural energies. It manifests in your conduct and actions, and these in turn react upon your friends and acquaintances, and eventually upon the whole of your environment. You can originate thought, and since thoughts are creative, you can create for yourself the things you desire. Write that down. Part 5. At least 90% of our mental life is subconscious, so that those who fail to make use of this mental power live within very narrow limits. The subconscious can and will solve any problems for us if we know how to direct it. The subconscious processes are always at work. The only question is, are we to be simply passive recipients of this activity, Or are we to constantly direct the work? Or are we to consciously direct the work? Shall we have a vision of the destination to be reached, the dangers to be avoided, or shall we simply drift? A lot of people are drifting. You're not a drifter. We have found that mind pervades every part of the physical body and is capable of being directed or impressed by authority coming from the objective or to the more dominant portion of the mind. The mind which pervades the body is largely the result of heredity, which in turn is simply the result of all the environments of all past generations or the responsive and ever-moving life forces. An understanding of this fact will enable us to use our authority when we find some undesirable traits of character manifesting. We can consciously use all the desirable characteristics with which we have been provided, and we can repress and refuse to allow the undesirable one to manifest. Again, this mind which pervades our physical body is not only the result of our hereditary tendencies, but is the result of home, business, and social environments, where countless thousands of impressions, ideas, prejudices, and similar thoughts have been received. Much of this has been received from others, the results of opinions, suggestions, or statements. Much of it is the result of our own thinking, but nearly all of it has been accepted with little or no examination or consideration. The one thing that I had to challenge myself with a lot when I first woke up was my thoughts, my actions as well, and the person I was. The one thing that I can say is I was a piece of shit. But if I was to speak to myself back then from where I am now, the only thing that I can tell him is to carry on balling. Because as much as he was a piece of shit, he realized that he was nothing. But then realizing that he is nothing, he also realized that everything that he thought about, everything that he could ever think, transpired in the world. This is why I don't think I will ever be able to stop bashing it into anyone's brain that decides to listen to any of this. If anyone decides to listen to any of this, people do, and people will carry on listening to this as times go on and the world becomes even more spiritual from how material it is. People will understand the things that are being presented here. Your thoughts create your reality, and I know a lot of people know that, but they don't know it. They're not actively understanding it. As much as they know it, they ain't putting it into practice. As much as they are, because thoughts and all of that, you can't stop it. Unless you're Buddhist. I'm joking. But yeah, it's like I say, just watch your life from a third person perspective. Go about your day doing everything you need to do, living up to the maximum potential of your character, but looking at yourself from a third person perspective, seeing where you could be better, seeing where you could be worse, looking at the other tendencies that you might not be able to recognize, good or bad, and seeing which ones work and they are best for you and the ones that you want to express more fully. The idea seems plausible. The conscious receives it, passed it on to the subconscious, where it was taken up by the sympathetic system and passed on to be built into our physical body. The world has become flesh. This, then, is the way we are constantly creating and recreating ourselves. We are today the result of our past thinking, and we shall be what we are thinking today. The law of attraction is bringing to us not the things we should like, or the things we wish for, or the things someone else has, but it brings to us our own. The things which have created by our thought processes, whether consciously or unconsciously. Unfortunately, many of us are creating these things unconsciously. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm just having a moment of revelation for the art while I'm reading this. The only thing that I have to say is story. That's the only thing that I can say, is story. I know I've kept on saying that the next video is going to be the best, and I do believe that wholeheartedly. The audio that I've got right now, it is such a beautiful thing, especially for what I want to show as well, for what I feel and how I'm going to interpret it into the video, into the piece of art. It's beautiful. It's a step up from the last video for sure. For sure, it's a step up from the last video, because it's going to be more experimentative. There's way more there that I've done that I didn't do in the last one. But the one thing that I've understood is every time I decide to create, it's never the same process. Never the same process. If either of us were building a home for ourselves, how could we be in regard to the plans? How we should study every detail, how we should watch the material and select only the best of everything, and yet how careless we are when it comes to building our own mental home, which is infinitely more important than any physical home, as anything which could possibly enter into our lives depend upon the character of the material which enters into the construction of our mental home. Yeah. It's like I keep on looking at my own home that I have inside, and I see how beautiful it is, how grand it is. Even the views that are on the outside, they're nice, but they are completely insignificant to what's going on inside. Everything inside is right for me. This is why I'll never be able to have my own home, have my this and have my that, unless I am ready for that, unless I've built my temple in here first and I know exactly what's in this temple. Then I can have a temple on the outside as well. I'm going to create a temple here in my house that I'm living in right now, but it's going to be for my mother and my father, their own temple, because I know them a lot. Of course I do. It's something for them, you know, to give to them the same way that I know it will be given to me. You can't give something you can't receive something unless you're willing to give it. What is the character of this material? We have seen that is the result of the impressions which have accumulated in the past and stored away in our subconscious mentality. If these impressions have been of fear, of worry, of care, of anxiety, if they have been despondent, negative, doubtful, then the texture of the material which we are weaving today will be of the same negative material. Instead of being of any value, it will be mildened. What the fuck did I get? Mildewed. It will be mildewed and rotten, and will bring us only more toil and care and anxiety. We shall be forever busy trying to patch it up and making it appear at least gentle. But if we have stored away nothing but courage thoughts, if we have optimism, positive, if we have been optimistic, positive, and have immediately thrown any kind of negative thought on the scrap heap, have refused to have anything to do with it, and have refused to associate with it or become identified with it in any way, what then is the result? I think we both know that. Our mental material is now of the best kind. We can weave any kind of material we want. We can use any color we wish. We know that the texture is firm, that the material is solid, that it will not fade, and we have no fear, no anxiety concerning the future. There is nothing to cover. There are no patches to hide. These are psychological facts. There is no theory or guesswork about these thinking processes. There is nothing secret about them. In fact, they are so plain that everyone can understand them. The thing to do is to have a mental house cleaning. And to have this mental house cleaning and keep the house clean, mental, moral and physical cleanness are absolutely indispensable if we are able to make progress of any kind. And making progress in any kind means personal, and I'm not talking about reaching level 55 prestige 100 where, like, I don't fucking know, man. I don't play them games anymore because they give you they do give you a sense of accomplishment. They do give you a sense of progress, like you're making good. But your soul isn't making any good. Your soul is just sitting there, wilting away. Play a video game when you have nothing to do and you can have fun playing it. You see what I'm saying? And when I mean you have nothing to do, I mean you've worked so hard that you need to step back. You need to step back from it all and you need to change everything up so then you play. I mean, I haven't touched my PlayStation since about July, and that's what, October now? Yeah, this is coming from a guy that used to play until 5 a.m. Yeah. Progress. When this mental house cleaning process has been completed, the material which is left will be suitable for the making of the kind of ideas or mental images which we desire to realize. There is a fine estate waiting a claimant. Its broad acres with abundant crops, running water and fine timber, stretching away as far as the eye can see. There is a mansion, spacious and cheerful, with rare pictures, a well-stocked library, rich hangings, and every comfort and luxury. All the heir has to do is to assert his heirship, take possession, and use the property. He must use it. He must not let it decay. For use is the condition on which he holds it. To neglect it is to lose possession. I'm gonna write that down. There is a mansion, spacious and cheerful, with rare books and paintings, and every comfort and luxury. Take possession in your heart, and let it reside in there. Don't let it decay. In the domain of mind and spirit, in the domain of practical power, such an estate is yours. You are the heir. You can assert your heirship and possess, and use the rich inheritance. Power over circumstances is only its fruits. Health, harmony, and prosperity are assets upon its balance sheet. It offers you poise and peace. It costs you only the labor of studying and harvesting its great resources. It demands no sacrifice except the loss of your limitations, your servitude, your weakness. It clothes you with self-honor and puts a scepter in your hand. Hold on, I'm going to take a picture of that. That's something for me to work upon to make my own now. To gain this estate, 3 processes are necessary. You must earnestly desire it. You must assert your claim. You must take possession. You admit that those are not burdensome conditions. They ain't. You're familiar with the subject of hereditary. Darwin, Huxley, and Haeckel, and other physical scientists have piled evidence mountain high that hereditary is a law attending progressive creation. It is progressive hereditary which gives man his erect attitude and his power of motion, the organ of digestion, blood circulation, nerve force, muscular force, bone structure, and a host of other faculties in the physical side. On the physical side, there are even more impressive facts concerning hereditary of mind force. All these constitute what may be called your human hereditary. But there is a hereditary which the physical scientists have not compassed. It lies beneath and unattested to all researchers. At a point which they throw up their hands in despair, saying they cannot amount for what they see. The divine hereditary is found in full sway. It is the benign force which decrees primal creation. It thrills down from the divine, directs into every created being. It originates life, which the physical scientists have not done, nor ever can do. It stands among all forces supreme, unapproachable. No human hereditary measures upon it, measures up to it. The infinite life flows through you, is you. Its doorways are but the faculties which comprise your consciousness. To keep open these doors is the secret of power. Is it not worthwhile to make the effort? The great fact is that the source of all life and all power is from within. Persons, circumstances, and events may suggest needs and opportunities, but the insight, strength, and power to answer these needs will be found within. Avoid counterfeits. Build firm foundations for your consciousness upon forces which flow direct from the infinite source, the universal mind of which you are the image and likeness. Those who have come into possession of this inheritance are never quite the same again. They have come into possession of a sense of power hitherto undreamed of. They can never again be timid, weak, vacillating, or fearful. They are indossibly connected with omnipotence. Something in them has been aroused. They have suddenly discovered that they possess a tremendous latent ability of which they have heretofore entirely unconscious. they have suddenly discovered that they possess a tremendous latent ability of which they have heretofore which they were entirely unconscious of. Let's just say that. The power is from within, but we cannot receive it unless we give it. I've almost finished this notebook. Use is the condition upon which we hold the inheritance. We are each of us but the channel through which the omnipotent power is being differentiated into form. Unless we give out, the channel is obstructed and we can receive no more. This is true on every plane of existence and in every field or endeavor and all walks of life. The more we give, the more we get. The athlete who wishes to get stronger must make use of his strength he has. And the more he gives, the more he will get. Look at Kobe's work ethic. The financier who wishes to make money must make use of the money he has, for only by using it can he get more. The merchant who does not keep his goods going out will soon have none coming in. This business which fails to give efficient service will soon lack customers. The barrister who fails to get results will soon lack clients. And so it goes everywhere. Power is contingent upon a proper use of the power already in possession. What is true in every field of endeavor, every experience in life, is true of the power from which every other power known among men is begotten. Spiritual power. Take away the spirit, and what is left? Nothing. If then the spirit is all there is, upon the recognition of this fact must depend the ability to demonstrate all power, whether physical, mental, or spiritual. All possession is the result of the accumulative attitude of mind, or the money consciousness, is the magic wand which will enable you to receive the ideas, and it will formulate plans for you to execute, and you will find as much pleasure in the execution as in the satisfaction of attainment and achievement. Now, go to your room, take the same seat, the same position, and heretofore, and same as heretofore, and mentally select a plane which has pleasant association. Make a mental picture of it. See the building, the grounds, the trees, friends, association, and everything complete at first. You will find yourself thinking of everything under the sun, except the ideal upon which you desire to concentrate. Do not let that discourage you. Persistence will win, but persistence requires that you practice these exercises every day without failure. I will tell you where I practice mine. When I'm sleeping, about to go to sleep, because that is one of the most powerful times for imagination, and also when you're about to climax during sex, but we don't need to talk about that there. Or even when you do climax, you're just thinking about something else instead of, the vessel, camel, if you will, in front of you. The most powerful thing we all have, yes, strength and all of that, it's all nice, but imagination goes beyond time and space. Imagination is something that's incomprehensible. Imagination is imagination. People say don't create fantasies, and I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but I want to say this again. People say don't create fantasies because you're just going to be led to you're going to hold yourself to an expectation, you won't reach it, and you'll be in sadness. But always create fantasies if they're right for your soul. You wouldn't have to think about it, you would just know it. The same way as this. Sit down in your room, take a seat, and imagine all of this. And you will imagine everything that is right for you. All your friends that you know you have, they ain't friends, they're brothers, they're sisters, they're whatever. They ain't friends, they're family. The trees that you see when you're out on your walks, how beautiful they are, they're going to be there as well. The house and whatever material and whatever type of architectural structure it is, you know what you love, you know what resonates with your soul, and you know that it's right for you to have. Fantasize about that, because I promise you, you fantasize about that, and you feel these feelings as well, where you know you're going to be in these type of situations, in these type of fucking environments. The world is yours. The world is yours. Relation and connection are not somewhere and sometime, but everywhere and always. Part 5. What proportion of our mental life is subconscious? At least 90%. Is this vast mental storehouse generally utilized? No. Why not? Few people understand or appreciate the fact that it is an activity which they may consciously direct. Where has the conscious mind received its governing tendencies? From hereditary, which means that it is the result of all the environments of all past generations. What is the law of attraction bringing to us? Our own. What is our own? What we inherently are, and is the result of our past thinking, both conscious and subconscious. Of what is the material with which we construct our mental home composed, the thought which we entertain. What is the secret of power? A recognition of the omnipresence or of omnipotence. Where does it originate? All life and all power is from within. Upon what is the possession of power contingent? Upon a proper use of the power already in our possession. The key to every man is his thought, sturdy and defying though he looks. He has a helm which he obeys, which is the idea after which all his facts are classified. He can only be reformed by showing him a new idea which commands his own. Emerson be spitting. Alright, now get in your room. You're probably already in the room. Turn the phone off, turn everything off that can distract you, and feel. Don't think, feel, and you'll come across what's right for you.